Tony Daunt, the executive director of the Michigan Freedom Fund, on our AT&T line. That was just moments ago. Tony, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good. Sounds like the media maybe hypes up a lot of the negotiating tactics, but if it's true what the president says, he got what he wanted, and everybody's leaving singing Kumbaya this morning.
That's what it sounds like, and it's funny you mentioned the media there because as I was listening to the question they were asking, I'm thinking, what is this guy even saying or asking? So.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to ask you, too, this morning, the other news about, it's sort of related to the auto industry, which that answer from the president was, too, but Elon Musk says that he might come to the rescue of the rest of the homes in Flint that don't have clean water here in Michigan. He's committed to pay for filters, and he's asked people on Twitter, if you live in Flint and your water isn't right, now, mind you, most of the homes apparently they are, but the ones that aren't, he'll send somebody out and put a filter in for you. Now, he's not a government. He's just an individual citizen. You find that interesting or disturbing?
I find it very refreshing because that's what this country was founded upon and built upon, was that your community and those around you are the ones that will be best equipped to take care of you and to help you when tough times are tough, and that we can't trust the government. I mean, that was the key message of the revolution and the independence that we just celebrated last week, that you can't trust the government. Look to people around you to help you.
Speaking of the government, I see the Supreme Court is now going to take up the fight over the idea about how the political districts are drawn. If the court breaks the one way, we'll all get to decide in November. Have you thought at all about where the Michigan Freedom Fund might stand on the idea of a ballot proposal to change the way the congressional districts are drawn in Michigan and have it done sort of by a bipartisan committee instead of the party in power?
Yeah, and we are, from the beginning, we have been paying attention to this issue, and we have been very steadfastly opposed. And one of the main reasons for that was at the very outset of the announcement of this group, it was clear that it was partisan, activist Democrats and liberals who were behind this effort. And I think it's funny that for decades the lines have been drawn by politicians in charge, and that's the way it's set up to be in the Constitution. And when Republicans have had control, then all of a sudden it's a constitutional crisis and a threat to our democracy. And it's simply because the folks on the left haven't been able to put forth candidates or ideas that win at the ballot here in Michigan and in other places around the country. And they're trying to change the rules. So we're opposed, we'll remain opposed, and depending on how the Supreme Court looks at this issue and what they decide, we're ready to go to battle fighting it on the ballot.
Sometimes things get a little silly in these races. And for instance, the race for governor right now, somebody put on Twitter, and it's the MERS News quote of the day, "Man, Gretchen Whitmer is so damn fine, she makes me want to be a Democrat again," end quote. and Senator Whitmer said, quote, "Well, we're going to win this election one at a time." And so that's sort of funny. And then I see, too, now that Brian Calley, Republican candidate for governor, has a new 30-second ad. And who would ever thought this? It features his blues band playing in front of an audience that includes Governor Snyder. So in both of those cases, there's no business like show business, is there?
It's it sounds like your high school president race. Who can promise the most goodies or who's the most popular. I mean, that's the way politics has been for many, many years, probably since the beginning of our process here. It is indeed a popularity contest in many ways, and sometimes the actual policy discussions take a backseat to all the glitz and glamour.
I guess when you're thinking about who to elect, and we have elected a president who was a businessman and a reality TV show star. Maybe it'll work out, who knows? But there's elective politics, and then you actually have to govern when you get in there. So it's fascinating to see how it plays out, the show business and the reality of it all. Tony Daunt, the executive director of the Michigan Freedom Fund. Michael Patrick Shiels from right downtown Lansing to radio stations all across the state of Michigan through Facebook Live and mibigshow.com and our One Touch app as well.